an enjoyable day to be part of this learning too. I don't know how many times I've jumped on to listen to the different speakers and trainers, and now I'm glad to be here myself because I'm going to share something with you very powerful, very special, and yet I'm going to do it in a very timely manner. And I'm going to talk to you this breakthrough personal training. Again, they always call me Dr. Breakthrough, and I always have to give a disclaimer. It's Dr. Breakthrough. I can't provide the breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. But when people follow the breakthrough prescription, God Almighty provides it. What's a breakthrough? That's a great question. It's exploding through barriers that at one time seemed insurmountable. So if right now you feel stuck in your life, if you feel you're on a certain plateau, but you know you should be able to do more and go more and accomplish more, I'm going to help you, my friend, with the time that we have allotted. And so I am greatly blessed, highly favored, and deeply loved. And so are you, my friend. That's one of the breakthroughs that you need to understand, that you're someone special. And my friend, you're amazing. So there's a picture of me and my beautiful wife, Nadia. I call her my ABCD. That stands for Adorable Brown Caramel Delight. And this picture, by the way, in the bottom, we were actually in Jamaica with Alicia. She had set me up to speak for about 1,200 young people and in churches and so forth. And so then we took time just to chill. And my wife said to me the other day, baby, it's time to go back to Jamaica, man. So, alrighty. So that says a hot mess. That was my life, a hot mess, right? You see all this squiggly lines and all the things. I mean, listen, people call me, Dr. Stan Harris, AKA Dr. Breakthrough now. But when I started, I was a mess. And when you hear what I have to say, I think it's going to really encourage you and really empower you because, my friend, you might be like I was, messed up. I'm telling you, my friend, confused, disappointed, like what is going on in my life? My life was a mess. You know what? One time I was homeless, I was phoneless, and I was carless, but thank God I wasn't faithless. So we're going to tell you, my friend, success is a journey. It's not a destination. And so what I'm going to teach on, you can see a picture when I was a white belt in the martial arts on the left, 11 years of age, actually. And then you can see where by the time I got 15, I'm brown belt, a little better. And then you can see laying on the bed of nails, breaking bricks on fire. Then by 43, voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame. Of course, now I'm hitting 62. I'll be 62 next month. And so the theme I want to talk to you about is this. Every master, look at the very bottom of the screen. Every master was once a mess or a mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. Let me say it again. Every master was once a mess or at best mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. You see, my friend, I kept looking at these people and my goodness, I was looking at their life and looking at them and what they had accomplished and looking at myself and my life. And I was like, there's no hope for me. Like, I'm a mess. I'm all confused. I'm all messed up. I don't, and guess what, my friend? But I found out every last one of those people that I respected, they all started off a mess like me. And you can see when I started martial arts, my friend, matter of fact, they called me Mr. Baboon. I tripped over my own feet. They laughed at me. They said, you'll never amount to be anything. But guess what, my friend? As you can see there on the top right, I was voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame, and I'm one of 100 10th degree black belt, grandmaster. Now, master level is 5th degree, but once you get 8th degree, that's grandmaster, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And so here's the guy that was a mess. As a matter of fact, do you know what they called me when I was a little boy? They didn't call me Stan. They added a K at the end. They called me Stank. They called me Stank. I don't know if it's because I stank when I was a little child, my diapers, right? But if you think about it, all of us started off as children, and guess what? All of us were under, we had messy diapers, and so regardless, I gotta get you to understand this. The greatest people in the world started off as a mess. So if you're in a mess right now, if you're a mess, you're in good company. Or you say, well, maybe you're mediocre, right? Well, you're still good company. It doesn't matter. Every master was once a mess or mediocre. Therefore, every mediocre person or mess can become a master. By the way, whenever a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that you can market to the masses And if you do, you'll make millions. Ooh, let me say it again. I said every master was once a mess or mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. And whenever a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market properly to the masses, you can make millions. So let's get on this journey, let's say, and let's start our journey. By the way, right now, you may be feeling like a mess in your relationships. You may be feeling like a mess in your finances, a mess in your life, a mess in your business. But I want you to understand, my friend, in nutshell, we're going to change the story and say from now on, you're a master in the making. Isn't that good? Say, look at yourself. Matter of fact, just say out loud, I'm a master in the making. Say, I may look like a mess. My business may seem like it's in a mess. My relationships may seem like they're in a mess. I may look like a mess, but I'm actually a master in the making. So let's take you on a journey on how you go from being a mess or mediocre to being a master. Would you like to hear and understand that? Yes, yes, or of course, yes. Talk to me in the chat. Alrighty. So just like this rocket ship, my friend, have you ever seen a rocket ship take off? It's all kind of combustion and all kind of energy, but it's barely moving. And sometimes in life, my friend, is like, regardless of how hard we try, it's like just barely moving, my friend. But that's okay because you're beginning your journey. If you know anything about that rocket ship keeps moving and moving. Now, if it was human, it would say something like this: man, I'm doing all this work. I get on all these learning tubes. I'm reading all these books. I go to all these seminars, like nothing seems to be happening. But see, a rocket ship isn't human, so it doesn't go based off its emotions. It just does what it was programmed or designed to do. So they tell me the rocket ship after a while starts gaining momentum, and it starts going faster and faster and faster. And right before it hits escape velocity, it begins to rotate wildly as if it's about to be shaken to pieces. If that rocket ship could speak, I believe I'd hear it saying something like this: man, I'm doing everything I know what I'm doing. It's just not working. Everything's messed up. Look, I mean, I'm shaking all over the place. And listen, my friend, but guess what? Because the rocket ship is not human, it just continues to do what it was designed to do. And the next instant, they tell me you can hear like a bam, boom, and it breaks through the Earth's atmosphere. Now that rocket ship that uses 1 million pounds of fuel, 95% is from takeoff to escape velocity. Once it breaks through escape velocity, it will virtually use no more fuel for the rest of the trip. In other words, the breakthrough, my friend, before the breakthrough, there's all struggle and seemingly no success. After it breaks through escape velocity, after the breakthrough, there seems to be all success with little or no struggle. So if you're ready to get there, my friend, you got to say again, I may look like a mess. I may feel like a mess. My business may look like a mess. My relationships may look like a mess, but actually I'm a master in the making. Here's what makes the master. You got to go from being a mess to a master. But first, let me let you know about Albert Einstein. He wasn't able to speak until he was almost 4 years of age. Wait a minute, the guy who's considered the smartest man, right? His teacher said he would never amount to much. Michael Jordan, after being cut from his high school basketball team, he went home, locked himself in his room, and he cried. The great Michael Jordan was at once a mess. Walt Disney, fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination and having no original ideas. This is the guy who started Disney World. He was a mess. Now he's a master, and you can as well. Steve Jobs, at 30 years of age, he was left devastated, depressed, after being unceremoniously removed from the company he started. He was a mess. But guess what? Now he goes down as being a master, and his company grossed more money than any other company. Oprah Winfrey, believe it or not, was once a mess. She was demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't quote unquote fit for television. Now she owns her own network. She's a master now. But back then she was a mess. Hey, if you're a mess, I got good news. Every master was once a mess, or at best mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. The Beatles, they were rejected by Decca recording studios. They said, we don't like their sound. They have no future in show business. And of course, as a kid, I grew up seeing the Beatles TV show, and they, of course, were the hottest band going. I'm like, listen, my friend, they were a mess at one point, and then they became masters. So guess what? If it happens for somebody, it can happen for anybody. But you're not just an anybody, you're a somebody. And so again, my friend, if you're a mess or best mediocre in your business and your relationships and your finances in any area, you're actually a master in the making. So here's what it takes to go from being a mess to a master. Number one, it takes mentors. Come on, you ready to go on this journey with me? It takes mentors. See, if you're going to go from being a mess, or if you're going to go from being mediocre to being a master, you got to have mentorship. How did I go from being a mess in the martial arts to being a grandmaster and retiring as a heavyweight champion and being voted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame? It started off with a mentor in the Japanese. My style is called Ishanru Karate, and in mentors in the martial arts, we call them sensei. Sensei is a Japanese word meaning teacher or instructor. Here's what I found out, my friend, that the mentor, the sensei, didn't matter how bad I was, didn't matter how much of a mess I was, the mentor was committed to helping me get better and become, if I wanted to, a master. So mentorship, again, is the fastest way to multiply your success. So you got to get mentors. See, finding the right mentor is the fastest, easiest, most reliable way to master any skill. You see, it was Socrates who mentored Plato, and Plato mentored Aristotle. Aristotle mentored Alexander the Great, and then Benjamin Graham mentored Warren Buffett. Of course, Warren Buffett has mentored millions. Bill Bailey mentored Les Brown, and Les Brown, of course, has mentored millions. And Bill Bailey also mentored Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn, excuse me, mentored millions. And one of those he mentored was a guy named Tony Robbins, who's mentored tens of millions. It was W. Clement Stone who mentored Jack Canfield. And Jack Canfield was one of the co-authors of the billion-dollar book series, Chicken Soup for the Soul. In the Bible, Moses mentored Joshua. Joshua mentored 3 million Israelites. Elijah mentored Elisha, and Elisha mentored this widow woman who lost her husband, was about to lose her children to the debtors, and he mentored her, and she started a home-based business, paid off her debts, and her children lived the rest of their lives off the profits. And even in the New Testament, Jesus mentored the disciples, and here's what he said. I love this. He said, the works that I do shall you do also, and greater works than these. Meaning, watch this, the mentee not just has the potential of doing what the mentor has done, the mentee has the potential of doubling what the mentor has done. Does that sound good to you? Yes, yes, or yes. Come on in the chat, talk to me now. So how many would like to be able to not just do what your mentor does, but to double that? Well, guess what, my friend? You got to understand, you're not a mess. You're not a mediocre. You're a mentor, a master in the making. And the first step, my friend, is mentorship. Now, again, you want to walk with who and what you want to be like in spite of how things look now. Your day will come. You may look like this little teeny cub, this lion cub, but guess what? You're going to grow, and it could grow to be as big as his dad, if not even bigger. So believing in yourself, the God in you, or a mentor who believes in you until your own belief kicks in, is the first step to breakthrough success. There's two of my mentors, Jim Rohn, who's going down, and Bill Bailey, and where we're speaking together out at a spiritual retreat in Montana. And then they decided they wanted to go see this place called Old Faithful. And so we went there, 4-hour drive there, 4-hour drive back. And so I had a great time learning as I drove, and we talked. So again, every master, I said, was once a mess. Therefore, every mess can one day be a master through what? Mentorship. Number two, it's going to take a mental shift. Hey, if you're a mess right now, or mediocre, if you're a mess in your business, mess in your finances, mess in your relationships, messing in the area of your life, you can be a master. So guess what? It's going to take not just mentorship, it's going to take a mental shift. See, here's what the problem, my friend, is oftentimes we focus on what we lack instead of focusing on what we do have that we can leverage. See, here's in May the 6th of 1954, the 4-minute mile was supposed to be unbreakable, but Roger Bannister thought otherwise. And in 3 minutes and 59.4 seconds, he, listen, my friend, broke that record. But then 46 days later, his record was broken. So get this, barriers were made to be broken. So get busy, my friend. It's breakthrough time. You got to have, first of all, mentorship, but then you got to have a mental shift. See, if Roger Bannister would have believed like everybody else believed, he would have still not done the sub 4-minute mile. But because he believed differently, by the way, every great invention, every great thing that's been done was at one time declared impossible by someone else before it is done. So you've got to have a breakthrough mentality, my friend. See, with a breakthrough mentality, nothing on earth can stop you. Without a breakthrough mentality, no one on earth can help you. So again, as I said, everything worthwhile that's ever been done was declared impossible by someone else before it was done. Thus, you must have a breakthrough mentality, breakthrough mentor, and breakthrough methods. Now, here's what the richest man in China said. I failed 3 times in college. I applied 30 times to get a job, but I've always been rejected. When KFC came to China for the first time, we were 24 to apply, and I was the only one to be dismissed. I wanted to go into the police and 5 postulants. I was the only one not to be accepted. I applied 10 times to return to Harvard University, USA, and I was rejected. Now, this is Jack Ma, founder and executive chairman of Alibaba Group, number 33 on Forbes World Billionaires, 22 billion, by the way. This is back in 3/3/2016, so he's worth a lot more now. So never give up because you failed. Failure plus persistence equals success. So again, every master, you see this guy was a mess, but now he's a multi-billionaire. Every master was once a mess, or best mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. And when a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market to the masses, you can make millions, and in his case, billions. So the word impossible, if you cross out the M-I-M, it says possible. My friend, listen, stop saying that. See, sometimes the thing that is holding you back, it's all in your head. Look at this. Look at this. This horse being held by a little chair. No, those are limiting beliefs. And right in the middle of the word beliefs is a 3-letter word called a lie. And I'm telling you, so many times the lies that I believed in, and by the way, I started getting rid of the lies and I started having breakthroughs. And the more that I study, the more I get on webinars and Zooms and more books I read and seminars I attend and things that the more I find these lies that I've been believing in and get rid of them and have my breakthrough. So again, remember, every master, this is a breakthrough right here. Every master was once a mess. Or best mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. When a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market to the masses, you can make millions. So you're not a mess, you're a master in the making. Muhammad Ali said impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare. Impossible is potential. Impossible is temporary. Impossible is nothing. Number 3, if you're going to go from being a mess or mediocre to a master, it's not just going to take mentorship and a mental shift. Number 3 is going to take some misery. That's right. It's going to take some pain. See, a diamond is just a piece of charcoal that handled stress exceptionally well. So don't allow the pain of the process to keep you from your promise. Did you hear me? I said, don't allow the pain of the process to keep you from your promise. There's going to be some misery. You think I became a 10th degree black belt without any pain, without any misery? Oh my goodness, you better know. Broken fingers and broken elbow and broken nose and I mean, you name it, just about I broke it, but I was committed. And now, my friend, less than 100 of us are 10th degree black belts in the entire world. So comfort is the enemy of achievement. And write this down, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. How many of you with me? Come on now, how many of you with me now? See, listen, you remember they said in order to be the boss, you got to pay the cost. And so, my friend, when I got this from Muhammad Ali, he said, I hated every moment of working out, but I said, suffer now and live the rest of your life a champion. And so I say, suffer today and live the rest of the day a champion, and then wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. Because success, by the way, can never be earned or owned. Excuse me. Success can never be owned. It can only be rented. And the rent is due, guess when? Every single day. See, grapes must be crushed to make juice. Diamonds form under pressure with time. Olives are pressed to release oil that blesses. Seeds grow in the darkness under the dirt. And so whenever you feel crushed, under pressure, pressed, or in darkness, you're in a powerful place of transformation. Submit, don't resist. You'll have some haters, by the way. Here's my acronym for haters. Write it down. Having animosity towards everyone reaching success. One of my mentors said, if you want people to get after you, he said, just do three things. I said, what's that? He said, have more, know more, and do more. He said, now, if you want people to leave you alone, do three things. I said, what's that? He said, have nothing, know nothing, and do nothing. Well, I got to thinking, if you have nothing, know nothing, do nothing, they're going to call you lazy and shiftless and no good. So you might as well go ahead and have more, know more, and do more, and let the haters hate. Again, having animosity toward everyone reaching success. By the way, the weak hate, the average tolerate, but the great celebrate. Come on, somebody. I said, you're not a mess. You're a master in the making. Number 4, it's not just going to take mentorship and a mental shift and some misery. By the way, it's going to take some methods, right? Some new methods. And that's what I love about what Alicia and her sister are teaching you. I call them the little sisters that make a big difference. By the way, you can't usually prove that something doesn't work, but rather that you don't know how to work it right. So you maybe haven't worked it long enough or no longer works because you are no longer working. Methods, you got to put them into practice, my friend. So a breakthrough is going into a new dimension. It's going to take new methods, my friend. And so you have to apply. But those methods, again, it's going to be some misery. But again, you got to make sure you have a mental shift and focus on what you're going to get instead of what it's costing to go through it. And then you got to make sure you have those mentors, right? Number 5. You're going to go from being a mess or mediocre to a master. It's going to take your mouth. That's right. You're going to have to use your mouth. I like what Muhammad Ali said. He said, I'm the greatest. He said, I said that even before I knew I was. In Job 22, verse 28 says, at the top right, thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. Romans 4:17 says, and calleth those things which be not as though they were. See, you got to learn, my friend, if you're going to go from being a mess or mediocre to a master, because remember, whenever a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market to the masses, you make millions. You got to open up your mouth. You got to say some things. You got to have some declarations that you read out loud. You're going to have to say some things, my friend. And I love what Muhammad Ali said. He started saying, he said I was the greatest a long time before I believed it. In other words, he didn't even believe it, but he figured out what he wanted to believe. So he started saying it long enough and loud enough. Faith cometh by hearing, hearing by the word. Said it long enough and loud enough until he started believing it. When you really believe something, it affects the way you act, it affects what you do. And so guess what? He passed away years ago, but he's still considered the greatest. So he said it's the repetition of affirmations that leads to belief. And once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things begin to happen. Number 6, you're going to go from being a mess to a master. Not just going to take mentorship and a mental shift, misery, methods. My friend, it's not just going to take your mouth. You got to say things, but it's going to take some mastery. Now, what does mastery mean? That means you do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. See, anyone who tells you that you can succeed without work is probably trying to sell you something that won't. Did you get that? I said, anyone tells you that you can succeed without work is probably trying to sell you something that won't. You see, my friend, read, receive empowerment, answers dominion. Picture my wife reading one of our books. So keep reading the book until you become or embody the book. Are you hearing me? Mastery means you keep doing it over and over again. So it's crazy that some people feel that 2 to 5 years in business is a long time to get rich, but don't feel that 40 years on a job is a long time to stay broke. You see, the sensei and the man, we had to do these punches and these kicks. I was like, Sensei, I got it. And to do our katas, which is fighting an imaginary opponent. He said, no, you don't have it. You got to be able to. I said, I could do it with my eyes closed. He said, that's not good enough. You got to keep doing it. It becomes part of your second nature. Man, that's mastery. And then my time's running out. So number 7, it takes money. To go from being a mess to a master, you think all those classes I took were free? Don't you know they had to test us for different belts? Do you know that cost? You know that we had to go fight in tournaments? That cost, right? And I don't know why people think, well, wait a minute, you know, my life is a mess, my marriage is a mess, or my relationship's a mess, my business is a mess, my head is a mess, my life is a mess. I want to be a master, but how do you think you're going to get there without it's costing you? It's going to cost you something. And folks need to understand, see, rich people, well, poor broke people say, how much does it cost? And rich and abundant people say, what is it worth? And so it's going to take some money, my friend. So Jim Rohn said a formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. How many of you would rather, instead of just making a living, just getting by, how many of you would like to make a fortune so you could be blessed to be a blessing to others as well? Come on, talk to me now. Who wants to be blessed so you could be a blessing to others? You know, I like to say when brother cup runs over, sister saucer gets some. And if the cup keeps running over, not just the saucer, but the tablecloth gets some. And if the cup keeps running over, the saucer gets some, the table gets some, and the floor gets some, right? You just want to be so overflowing that you have so much to bless your family members and also friends and so forth. But my friend, if you're going to be a master, it's going to cost some money. So Les Brown said it best. He said, information costs, but pays for itself 10 times over. When I married my beautiful wife, Nadia, I call her my ABCD, adorable brown caramel delight. We got married many years ago. She said, baby, we don't ever want to spend money, but rather circulate money. I said, well, what does that mean? She said, well, when you spend money, it's gone forever. But when you circulate money, you leverage it to go out and come back multiplied in a never-ending cycle of increase and enjoyment. I was like, ooh, for the rest of our lives now, we're going to look for ways that we can circulate the money that we have. And my friend, I'm telling you, you're going to go from being a mess or mediocre to being a master. Because remember, I said, you're not a mess, you're not mediocre, you're a master in the making. So here you see a picture of me breaking bricks on fire. When I started, you think I could do this? No. I looked at people doing stuff like this. I was like, I could never do that. And I never could until I first got a mentor. And then the mentor helped me have a mental shift, right? And I had, you know, and so anyway, going through all these steps, but it cost me some money to learn. So how many of you, my friend, instead of just being like that snail, you want to have that rocket ship jet fuel on your back? These 7 things that I just covered will take you. So your time as a caterpillar has expired. Your wings are now ready. It's time for you to fly. It's time for you to stop, my friend, being a mess. Stop being a mediocre. Stop living by the excuses. Stop lowering your expectations to meet your experience. And raise your experiences now to meet your expectation. It's your time, my friend. Again, all of us, every master was once a mess. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. And when a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market properly to the masses, you can make millions. Come on in the chat. Who's ready, my friend? Who's ready to get on their journey? A master in the making. Who's ready, my friend? Be a master in the making to take these 7 things, these 7 steps, my friend, so that you can be a master. So that you, my friend, can have the money you desire, so you can have the influence you desire, so that you can live the life, to experience the joy, the experience. Somebody said money doesn't buy happiness. I said being broke can't buy anything. But my friend, my desire for you, the reason I speak, the reason I train, the reason I empower people, because I desire for them to go from wherever they are, be it a mess like I was, or be it mediocre like maybe some of you are, to being a master. It's so fulfilling. It's so exhilarating, my friend, and I want that for you. Do you want that for you? Yes, yes, or yes. I said, do you want that for you? Come on now, blow that chat up. Say yes, yes, yes. Come on. Who are you? What are you? Come on in the chat. Come on, everybody type it in. Say, I'm a master in the making. Now, some of you are making it a little faster than others, but come on, everybody, come on. Say, what are you? I'm a master in the making. Come on, again, I'm a master in the making. And remember, every master was once a mess, or best mediocre. Therefore, every mess or mediocre person can one day be a master. When a mess or mediocre person becomes a master, you now have a message that if you market to the masses, you can make millions. So it's your time. It's your time to shine. Abraham Lincoln, it was, who said this: I will prepare myself and my time will come. So my friend, your time again, as a financial caterpillar, has expired. Your wings, your financial wings are ready. Your time as a relationship caterpillar is crawling slowly on the ground has expired. Your wings are now ready. Just like that caterpillar through the cocoon becomes a beautiful butterfly. It's your time to fly. God bless you, my friend. My name is Dr. Stan Harris. They call me Dr. Breakthrough. And I love empowering others to break through the barriers to try to hinder their success. God bless you. I'm sure you enjoyed this video. I trust you received great value from it. As a matter of fact, if you like some more, what you want to do is go over to my private membership site. Now, get this now, it's very powerful. Go to www.theinternetmentor.com. That's right. Come on, right now, go over there, www, jot it down. Somebody said note takers are money makers, but Dr. Breakthrough says action takers are bigger money makers. So go over to theinternetmentor.com and you're going to see a bunch of different trainings I have, and some are even free over there as well, and some are paid for, obviously. But you want to go there. And my friend, I think it can change your life. So again, make sure you subscribe to my channel, share these with others, and then go to theinternetmentor.com. If you like what you see, which I'm sure you will, share it with others so they can be blessed as well. Well, I always say I'm too blessed to be depressed, too blessed to be stressed, too glad to be sad, too anointed to be disappointed, too elated to be agitated, too legit to quit, too grounded to be confounded, too grateful to be hateful, too gifted to be restricted, and too saved not to be getting paid. God bless you. I'll see you at theinternetmentor.com. What time is it? It's breakthrough time.